My focus is on the Tomb of ShuiQiu, the tomb built in 901, and it's a tomb of the mother of the first king of WuYue State. And I have shown you the state, the area of the state. And this tomb interested me most is the celestial image on the ceiling of the tomb. That it has depicted 28 star mansions, and with 186 stars altogether. And there you can see here it is a celestial equator. And this is very different from the traditional celestial image in the tomb. This is a tomb from the 6th century. It's a tomb of Yuanyi. And this is a star maps from Dunhuang in the 8th century. And this is not alone. This is not the only case of more accurate celestial images. This one is from the tomb of Chu Zhiwang in the 10th century, and it's in here. And another case is from a tomb in Shanghai. You can see there from here. Okay, so all these images represented the trend of the new trend of use of celestial knowledge. And in contrast to the abstract and symbolic celestial images in the tombs during 4th to 9th century, when celestial phenomena were considered to be prognosis of political change and the symbol of the kingdom's mandate of heaven. Therefore, the astrology and astronomy had long been monopolized by the royal families, and any circulation and use of accurate celestial knowledge or images was forbidden. So how was the accurate images in ShuiQiu's tomb and other local authorities' tombs are produced? And what was the motivation of its production and use? Some scholars have thought that these images are replication of one same script, which explain the similarity. And during 7th to 10th century, large-scale and concentrated observation of stars were only conducted in the Kaiyuan period, which is 713 to 741. So the script was made then. And according to the records of famous paintings of the past, the secret celestial paintings and precious star maps were once scattered from the court after the Anshi rebellion, which is in 755 to 766 and 63. This indicated that with the relative decline of the central imperial power since the middle and late Tang Dynasty, the monopoly on astronomical knowledge, diagrams, or technology weakened accordingly, and local powers were able to acquire them. However, these secret maps seem to be mostly related to religions like Buddhism and Taoism, rather than technology or science, and hardly carried information of updated astronomical observation. So even if it was obtained, they could not be used as references. And furthermore, even if they were accurate diagrams circulating, local powers in Shanxi and Hebei, which are nearer to the capital of the Tang Empire, and had considerably easier access to them than WuYue State in the south, failed to present celestial images as accurate as that in ShuiQiu's tomb. So I look more into the production of celestial knowledge in Tang Empire, and I found that it was not conveyed or learned through books and images. The official system of astronomy of Tang relied more on the inheritance within professional families or religious apprenticeship. For example, Taoist priests and monks with astronomical expertise were recruited into the official institutions. And interestingly, no well-known astronomers in Tang Dynasty were trained in official astronomical institutions. So the local powers are more likely to recruit astronomical expertise for experts. For example, the Southern Han State the southern Han state, which is in this area, recruit the descendants of officials of Tang who failed to return to the capital after the rebellion, including the family of Zhou, the former leader of official astronomical institution of Tang. So Qian Liu, the king of WuYue State, once visited a famous Taoist priest, Wu Renbi, who started off as an apprentice to a famous Taoist priest in Lushan and became a well-learned Taoist master of astrology himself. Qian treated him with courtesy and visited him several times for recruitment. And even after Wu's firm refusals, Qian still asked him to write a memorial eulogy to his mother ShuiQiu. Until the early Song Dynasty, even the compilation of a calendar, which is of the highest political sensitivity and technical requirements, relied on recruitment of non-governmental experts. When taking into consideration the fact that restless efforts were put into recruiting experts in astronomy, regardless of their political or religious background, it is conceivable that the real pursuit of local powers like WuYue State was not some official astronomical knowledge of Tang, but a complete and sustainable system of astronomical knowledge, technology, and practice, supported by the experts. In this sense, the accurate celestial images in highest ranked terms of local powers witnessed the growingly fierce competition over the monopoly of the interpretation of mandate of heaven and the political legitimation. And in contrast to this private use of accurate celestial image, to establish the legitimation and local identity, folk people on the reign should be mobilized to the maximum extent. Religious personification of the celestial could perform better than celestial images. They were like these. They were portraits of the star gods. And as mentioned before, Taoist and Buddhist masters tended to be well learned in astrology and astronomy. For example, Du Guangting in Sichuan used a lot of astronomical knowledge and terms like the celestial divisions of the land, the 11 stars, and fortune telling in the writing of his prayer. And historic Buddhist astrology and worship ceremony grew popular in late Tang Dynasty under the influence of Persian, Slavonian, and Indian astronomers who entered China, and they were integrated with Taoist ceremonies. And such integration played an important role in local legitimation and cohesion of society. Rites conducted by local government grouped the stars into hierarchical system of celestial officials. The shrine of remembrance to Qian Liu was built shortly after his death, of which the memorial inscription was written by his staff member, and it reads, "To remember and worship the great merit of King of WuYue, temple should be built and a portrait painted for the sacred order of both the blessed palace, the earth of the king." By such discourse, rites and ceremony of local beliefs, heavenly mandate was demonstrated and local legitimation reinforced with sanctity. And this is the very background and hotbed for the appearance of accurate celestial image. And we may imagine such a montage of splendid celestial images overlooking the tomb underground, and portraits of star gods hung up on the high wall of temples, and the picture of king among celestial officials in people's imagination. Legitimation only took into full effect through such montage. And was there some cohesion of this montage? Joseph Needham put forward the concept coordinative thinking, that the cohesion in ancient China's thinking was based on inductance rather than induction. And I would like to add that Had there been such cohesion of political legitimation, knowledge, technology, and belief, it would have had been performed in practice than in theory. And to be more specific, it may be called as coordinative practicing, driven by the establishment of legitimation and identity. And, and I believe this is at the very core of ancient China as a homogeneous intellectual unit. And it even contributed to the better understanding of the Needham puzzle of the rise of science in China and from that in Europe.